What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of The Narrative. Noah, hit that intro. This week's narrative: you should earn your stripes by working for free. Now, I don't know if you guys were on Twitter yesterday, but it blew up because I forgot who it was. I think it was some like
Jane
a
Slater, I think.
yeah, Jane Slater, a very well prominent known person. I think she's on ESPN. Tweeted about like something about like working like a internship that was like free or whatever, and then everyone got big mad and being like, "Wow, you shouldn't have like free labor and all that stuff." And I think this is an interesting topic. It's not fantasy related, but we don't always talk fantasy here on the narrative. I think it's interesting and it's pretty sensitive. It's a pretty sensitive talk about for most. For me, like I'm a bit older than you, Noah, obviously, and back in the day, like doing unpaid internships to like earn your stripes and get experience was like pretty normal, right? So I can totally see, and that's just for me. I'm only 30 years old. Most of the people in the comments that were talking, they're probably like, high 30s, 40s, even 50 years old, being like, wow, kids these days are so spoiled and they don't know what they're talking about. And back in my day, like I did this. Back in my day, I grinded like 40, 50 hours a week for free and just to get my foot in the door so I can rub toes with some of the big names, like that's the mentality they're coming from. And the young people are like, well, dude, it's fucking 21st century. It's not your day anymore. Like, wake the fuck up. And for me, as someone that's like kind of in the middle that saw a little bit of both, uh, I tend to agree more with the younger generation. No, I'm super interested to get your take on this because you are kind of part of that younger generation for sure. But the way I see it, you know, technology has removed barriers to entry for, a lot of industries, but especially in the sports and like fantasy football, like all the this sports world, anybody, a pleb, just like me, a random scrub, just like me, can go out there, pick up a microphone. Doesn't have to be a good mic, could be just any type of mic so it doesn't sound like you're fucking underwater, right? Pick up a webcam, Logitech off Amazon for like 20, $30, and start recording myself. And as long as I'm willing to put in the grind, I can put out content for people to see. And I truly believe this: the fans community is good enough and there's enough leaders and like really dope people at the top, guys like Nick from BDG, guys like JJ from JJ Zacharias and late round QB from FanDuel, like Matthew Berry, even like Ray GQ, like all these guys at the top that got there by like grinding it. They're more than happy to like promote others and like share the work. So if you are really talented, you're putting out good work, you will be found, right? Like nobody needs to come tell me to retweet their shit. If I see something that's good, I'm gonna promote that stuff. So I think we're in a world where like those barriers to entry are gone because you no longer need to work for free to get somewhere. Because in my opinion, right, large companies are going to take advantage and make money through three ways. And I tweeted about this yesterday. One is selling to consumers, whether it's a product or a service. Two is selling your information to advertisers. And three is to capitalize on their brand by paying people less than they deserve. And that's just the fact. That's across every industry, but I see it very, very prevalent in the sports industry. But if you're going to work for free and you can afford to work for free, which not many people can, right? Because that's a big privilege to be able to work for free, then you should invest in yourself, like what Noah did, right? Like what other people that I've seen that have blown up in this industry. Because investing in your own brand, even after you leave that company or leave any other company, people will still know who you are, and I think that's incredibly valuable. And if you can afford it, that's a great trade-off to make. And Noah, you and I have talked a little bit about this type of stuff back in the background, but I really want to get your thoughts. Like, what are your thoughts on like big companies coming out and like either doing like unpaid internships or like that job that PFF put up a while back that was like shit pay and they were trying to justify it because they're like a big brand. Like, what do you think about stuff like that? Like, would you rather get paid really shit and work for a big company and like grind your gears and get up there, or like would you rather like get shit pay and like maybe it doesn't even work out and just like do your own thing, kind of like what you're doing with like the basketball channel?
Yeah, for me, and I'm probably different from my demographic in the sense that, going through college and applying for colleges and stuff like that, people always want to put resume boosters on their resume. I have no problem having none of those on my shit. Like, if I don't enjoy doing it, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to join the Spanish club and the math club and the chess club
Hey,
if that's
whoa!
not
I
what I'm
joined the math
about.
club, man. Why you gotta make fun of the math club like
I was actually part of the math club, but I was using it as an example. We would just like walk around the high school when we were doing that shit and just bull out. But uh, when just looking at stuff like that, like I was never the person to really try to boost myself up for other people to feel validated by other people, if that makes sense. Like when I applied for an internship this summer, my whole thing was where I went to college and I did fantasy football. I had nothing about accounting in there, and it's an accounting internship. And the whole entire interview was them asking me questions about that type of stuff. And the reason why I'm comfortable having a shorter resume, and I know you're in a position to hire people, and maybe it's not a great thing to have a shorter resume because it doesn't look as good, but I only put things on there that I'm passionate about, right? I work with Nick, I work for Nick. I wouldn't have reached out if I wasn't passionate about it. I didn't expect pay. I didn't think I was becoming a full-time guy. I did it because I was passionate about it, and that's how I've always kind of been. I would just like ref basketball games, not expecting any money, not getting any money for it, but it's just something I liked, right? I wasn't trying to pursue anything that would not align with who I am as a person or my interests. So I might be differing in that sense where I don't really I guess I'm in a position as well where I'm like, I could admit I'm like lucky enough to not have to worry about getting paid money to afford my expenses, right? I still live at home. I'm in college. I guess I don't have to really worry too much about having a roof over my head being in college and shit like that. So I guess I'm lucky in that sense where the other people are like full grown, living on their own and have to try to break out while maintaining a full time job. So I do recognize that. But at the same time, the person that I am, I wouldn't pursue something that I wouldn't do for free, right? Doing the Top Shot stuff is something I really enjoy. I like the NBA. I like talking with people who know basketball. I like, in my free time when I'm with my friends, that's all we do is talk basketball and stuff like that. So brought my cousin on and we just kind of talk shop over there, and it'll get better as time goes on. I know the first video was a little bit more a little more straightforward and formal, but that happens as new channels arise and stuff like that. But anything that I have a passion in or anything that I want to pursue, I kind of not that I think about, oh, would I do this for free? And then that's my decision maker. But if I had to do it for free, I would, because I know that's where my passion lies and I don't have to have the money to motivate me to do something like that. Whereas, an accounting internship this summer, if that plays out, sure, I want a little guap for that because I'm not going there to have fun. I'm doing this to have fun. I'm doing the Top Shot stuff to have fun. I'm not pushing pencils and working as a scribe to have a whole bunch of fun. Hopefully they don't see this. And if they do, this isn't me. This is an alter ego. That's kind of my perspective. I'm not sure if it really answers the question of what Jane Slater was talking about because it's more specific to the sports industry. But as you said, building your own brand. Obviously, my brand is tightly related to Nick because he put me on and he gave me the platform. But as you said, right, kind of going out on Twitter and trying to make yourself who you are and kind of not stray away, but kind of make a name for yourself and be known for more than just having a weekly show and just being able to help people and kind of expand who you are. I think is going to help people in the long run if you do want to branch out or if you just want to stick around and expand on that as time goes on and more people can connect with you and get to know you and they feel like they know who you are as a person because you kind of grew in front of them.
Yeah, and that's what I kind of love about BDG and just like working with Nick, and all of us are obviously like friends to a degree now too. Is like we all support BDG and we all work for the brand, right? And we want to promote the BDG brand, but at the same time, like we all have the flexibility to have our own personalities, right? We all have our own Twitter accounts. Like none of us are just tweeting out after the BDG brand or anything like that. Like I have mine, Noah has his, Nick has his, Animal has his, Snacks has his, and we've all kind of went out there and built our own personal brand on Twitter as well on social media, so people know who we are. And I think that's like incredibly valuable. It's something that I never thought I would do, but it just kind of happened. So from that perspective, that's what I mean by like investing in your own brand. Like it's cool to like go for like a big company and like write articles for them and maybe like manage a Twitter account and stuff. But at the end of the day, like you really still need to like manage your own brand because let's say for whatever reason, let's say like in a catastrophic like apocalypse scenario, like BDG ceases to exist tomorrow, right? Like I think I still have value. I think Noah still has value. Nick still has value. Snack still has value. Max still, Animal still has a value. Like Scott, the editor, still has value because we've all kind of built up a little bit of a following and built up a little bit of brand. So that's like the hidden value. And if you're gonna work for free, you might as well invest in yourself. Like don't, a quote someone told me, I don't know who said this, but like don't spend like your time like building someone else's dream for them, right? Because if you have passions, like Noah said, like I think you're lucky enough that you learn like what some of your passions are. I guess the question I have for you, Noah, is like, some of those resume builders, and I've done it, right? Because back in my day, like you need to get that shit to get in the door of like some of these finance companies that I was passionate about that I want to work for. That was just like kind of like you had to jump through those hoops, and I hated it, but I did it. But if you don't do stuff like that, how do you know like what your passion is? Like obviously basketball is easy because it's like entertainment, but like, how do you know if you're passionate about, finance, for example, right? Like if you're not doing some of these things, you don't go to like these clubs or don't meet the people and don't network. Like, what do you see any downsides to that, or do you have like a different approach?
No, I give them a shot. I went to a few of them and I realized that most of them are just pizza parties where you don't really do anything other than, I guess you talk to other people, which I could talk to on my own time, which I do talk to on my own time. I don't need to dress up business casual and eat pizza every Thursday to be part of something. And if somebody in an interview is going to ask, what did you learn in finance club? I could say how to house 8 slices. Like that's not really going to help me in the long run, in my opinion. Things that I put on my resume are things that I feel like are worth talking about. And I did mention like Spanish club, math club. I actually did both of those things, and they ended up on my resume because I did give them a chance, and because I had friends that were doing those things. So
Hmm.
I gave them a chance. Not that I really loved any of them, which is kind of counterintuitive to what I've said, but it's not the fact that I'm like, okay, I'm completely opposed to giving it a shot. It's just I'll give it a shot, and if it's not who I am, if it's not what I enjoy doing, I don't really see the long term impact or the importance it has on me or me in an interview talking about it and just completely living a lie and telling them things that I didn't learn in a field like that.
Yeah, I think that's key, and you and I have talked about this like behind the scenes as well. But you obviously discovered a passion by doing like this NBA Top Shots thing that we've been working on, right? Which is like, you might want to explore the world of trading and investing because it seems like you have a knack, and the way you think and the way you identify trends is very interesting, right? So it's like it's weird how you discover your passion sometimes. Like, who would have, if I told you like 5 years ago, been like, hey Noah, would you want to trade like electronic moments, YouTube videos online, and that would lead to your passion for trading? Like, you'd have been like, fuck off, Mike, I have no idea what you're talking about. But that's exactly what happened. So that's why it's important to like trod the off beaten path sometimes, because I can tell you, look, I've been an interviewee. I've been through many interviews in my career working in finance and business and tech, but I've also been an interviewer, and I've interviewed people for hiring. And I can tell you this, like, the old beaten path of like, oh, let me do like this club, this club, this club, let me do, let me go through the exact sequence that other people have done before me, is not interesting. I see hundreds of those types of resumes all the time. When I was in banking, I was like, this is just like another Ivy League bro that like went to finance club and probably is the same as that other finance bro that I interviewed like last week. But if someone like Noah actually came around and said, "Hey, look, here's what I did in my summer. I work I work for a YouTube brand, and I put out my own weekly show for fantasy football. We have like 5,000 viewers, and I made 5 times my money investing in NBA Top Shots over the summer." I'd be like, "What the fuck is that?" One, two. Let me try and get intrigued, and let me try and learn about this guy, because the hardest part about getting something is like getting your foot in the door. And I agree with that point about all these boomers that said like back in my day, but there's different ways to get in the door now. The way to get your foot in the door is no longer, hey, let me work for like slave labor and for free to like get my foot in the door. You can get into the door by being different, by being authentic, by chasing your passions. And that is very possible. And there's just too much out there, too many platforms to get your voice out there for you to be discovered, to not explore something like that. And as someone that has gone through like hiring people and done all that stuff, like, I am always looking for those types of intriguing stuff because I want to interview them. Even if I don't want to hire them, right? I want to know and learn about them. So maybe on down the line, there's another opportunity. You never know what's going to happen. So making yourself unique and making yourself interesting while staying on brand, while chasing your passions, those are just really important things that I don't think people do, right? And obviously, you have to be privileged. I recognize that I come from a very privileged position to not have money be a deciding factor for me when it comes to fantasy stuff. It has never been a deciding factor for me because I have like, my career, my job that's treated me well, and I've invested and I've gotten pretty lucky and done well on the financial side, right? So that's not a main motivator for me now these days. What I want to do is like, I want to build a community. I want to like build my brand. I want to have fun with guys like Noah, with guys like Nick, and just build something special, right? And, I think I have that luxury, but there's also other people out there that have that luxury, but still choose to jump through the hoops because they're scared. And, they were told that's the way that it was done in the past. And that is like the most like stale and, non anti evolutionary way of thinking. It's like, hey, let's do it just because we did it before, is one of the worst ways of thinking. So I'm always like super intrigued, and I love seeing, guys like Noah go through and, make their own path to get to wherever it is they want to go. So, this is a bit of a longer narrative. I think it's just a really interesting topic. And I think people, always want to follow what's comfortable and follow what other people have done before. But what I'm here to tell you is there is no beaten path for this stuff. We're living in a new age where social media and things like YouTube, Twitter, and building your own brand is made more possible, and you can reach thousands, hundreds of thousands, even with a click of your finger on your phone. So take full advantage of that, right? Build your brand. Don't have to jump through the hoops that people think you want to jump through
I
all the
also
time.
think, Mike, not to cut you off, but like not only building your brand, but it helped me at least build myself as a person. Like I helped Nick out early on with just writing. I sent him an email. Can I write for you? My emails probably had a bunch of typos. He's like, yeah, let's see what happens. Then he decided me to bring me on for a video. I was shitting my pants for that. I am not an extroverted person, or at least I wasn't at the time. Super nervous, super shy. I had to record it in my college dorm. I was trying to be mad quiet. I didn't want people hearing me. I didn't tell my family I did any of this for like a year. I didn't tell any of my friends about it. Somebody found me on YouTube. I'm like, all right, don't talk about that shit. Some girl brought it up and she was listening to it in front of me. I'm like, I can't be doing this anymore. We got to cut things off. But I think also like, it's helped me as you were saying in the interviewing process, not only as it being a bullet point on there, but being able to communicate with other people, right? I'm not only talking to you when I do this video, or I don't think of it that way. I think of it me trying to talk to an audience, the expected viewers, right? If it was just me talking back and forth, I think that's more conversational. Sure, it probably plays out really well, and that's why FTP is huge and why they have a loyal fan base. But I also think thinking about it as me talking to a larger audience from that point of view, it's really helped me in interviewing situations, in presentation situations where, I have anxiety. I go up there, I kind of fucking lose it. Now, when I do it, I kind of just go back into my podcasting mode. I'm like, I don't give a fuck what these people think because I know what I'm talking about. I'm gonna tell them what I'm talking about. So it's really helped me from that aspect. And as you said, right, it's not always about going down the beaten path. You can take these public speaking classes. You can take these other courses. You can go up in front of big people and give lectures. And sure, that'll definitely help you with public speaking. But if you just pick up a mic or just have your computer talk into it and have it pick up your audio and put it on YouTube without giving a shit what people think, and if they don't like it, you can improve, and if they do like it, that gives you a little bit more reassurance. That'll definitely help you in the long run. It's definitely helped me. I remember the first time I was on a video, George underscore BDGE, he also like helps run the BDGE account. I was shitting my pants and I saw his comment. He's like, no, I know you're nervous, something like that, but you're gonna get better, trust me, you're gonna get better. Honestly, after that first video, I'm like, I don't know if I'm cut out for this. I see that comment and it's like a little reassuring. It gave me hope. And I was still shit. I was fucking garbage for like 2 years at this, but I'd like to think I improved and it's really helped me in my personal life. So if any of you guys out there are thinking about starting a YouTube channel, if you're thinking about building a personal brand, just know that it's not always about what comes of it financially, monetarily, or brand wise. It can also build you as a person. And honestly, if I took everything away, my Twitter account, my whatever, my connections with the people I've made here, and I can just simplify it to what built me as a person. I mean, that alone, the experiences I've had alone from me building who I am personally, being able to put my personality out there and being more open with people in my everyday life because I'm open with a bunch of people I don't know on Instagram, on Twitter, and on YouTube. It's really helped me in that aspect, and I think it's infinitely valuable. It's invaluable to take this type of path and put yourself out there and bet on yourself. Because if you asked me 4 years ago if I was gonna be doing this, I tell you, hell fucking no. I'm gonna shit my pants if I'm on a camera for more than 2 minutes. But now I'm doing it and I like doing it. It's fun to do, and you might find your passion that way. So never be afraid to take that chance. Don't be afraid to take that first step in the right direction. If you find out that you love it, go for it. If you don't, maybe that's just a sign telling you, talking about dynasty wide receivers isn't your passion, or you're not really about it. But I always think it's good to take that chance, as you were saying. Like, I wasn't trying to say, like, don't go out there and put yourself out there and find what you like, me kind of shitting on, like, all those clubs. I think taking those experiences into account and finding what makes you you and what brings you happiness is what's, at the end of the day, all that matters, right? If it's working for free, if it's making money off of it, if it brings you happiness, that's, in my opinion, all that really matters.
Yeah, dude, that's so important, and I'm so glad you say that because like in life, right? You're always selling a product, right? You may not be like us. Maybe you're not selling like videos, or you're not selling information, you're not selling a draft guide or whatever. But you're gonna be selling yourself. Like Noah brought it up. When you go in an interview, what are you doing? You're basically selling yourself, right?
Man, my interview, I told you the first question they asked her after they got to the part about what I do, the guy asked me, should I pick up Malcolm Brown or Mike Davis? I said Mike Davis, and thank God for that because I wouldn't have a job right now if I did the Mike Davis, or if I said to pick up Malcolm Brown.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, you have to learn how to sell yourself, and many people like do that don't get the reps. Like nobody just shows up on camera and they're like fantastic from day one, right? Maybe not nobody, but like most people don't. Like I was crashed too. I mean, I'm still like trying to work through, being on camera and being good and providing good content. Sorry, see that? Like I'm still working on that
I'll
shit.
cut it out,
But
Mike, or should I leave it in just so they see we have flaws of our own?
but you just got to get the reps in, and the reps here will help you in life 100%. I agree with you, Noah, and it will help you sell yourself in whatever else you're doing from now on. And like, just like how we, doing those clubs and building a resume, I think that starting your own YouTube show is a resume builder, because what you can do is build yourself up, right? Let's say you go from like, to like 500 subscribers in a year, right? That might not sound like a big thing, but I think that is a big, big, big accomplishment. And you can take that once you have that value and you have that resume, you can go to these big companies and say, hey, look, I've made this video. I built this from the ground up. I've improved from here to here. And I think if I was a hiring manager and I was someone looking for someone to hire that was good, which is the ultimate goal, which is why I would never offer a free internship to begin with. But if I was looking for someone that's really, really good, I would much rather see that like unbeaten path, you know, to success, and be able to truly witness like their growth and where they've been and what they're like as a people. And you can't convey that in a fucking resume. I promise you. I hate reading resumes. Like a resume plus a 30-minute interview tells you almost nothing about someone. But if you have a portfolio of a YouTube videos or all the things you've done, like whether it's vlogs, fantasy football, whatever it is, if I can go and watch you and watch those videos and see you develop over time, I think that's much more intriguing. And at the end of the day, you're just trying to market and sell yourself for whatever it is you're trying to do. So look, like unpaid internships is at like a big brand or whatever. Maybe it sounds cool, but what would be cooler to me is if you build your own brand. It goes back to like the small fish, big pond, big fish, little pond, or whatever type of mind of thinking. But I think when you're starting off, investing in yourself and trusting yourself and betting on yourself, and most importantly, is probably the path to go.
Yeah, and we talked about it as well. Like when you're interviewing for a job, and Nick always says it, they're not only interviewing you, you're interviewing them. But I also think, obviously, I've never hired anybody, but from their point of view, right, they're investing in you to not just be there to do work, but to be part of the community in the working area. And if they can go and look at your YouTube videos and see who you truly are rather than a 30-minute interview, like I'm pretty laid back. In my interviews, I like to keep it light. I try to make them laugh. Probably not always the smarter thing to do, but I think it conveys who I am as a person, right? And not many people may be comfortable doing that. And when you go into an interview, a lot of times people are really uptight. They can't really show who they truly are. But if you have experience on camera and you can kind of be a little bit more laid back, and the person interviewing is like, okay, this guy's confident. He knows what he's talking about. Or if you're a little bit more uptight, but you have that portfolio like Mike was talking about, like how Nick had all his vlogs. If Nick went to an interview and he was looking for a job and he was super uptight, but then they look at his portfolio like, okay, this kid's real smart. This kid can network. This guy is building a brand of his own. That tells you a little bit more about who you are, not only as an interviewee, but as a person. And at the end of the day, you're working with people. Although people want to say your job can be automated and shit like that, it's not fun to talk to computers. It's fun to talk to other people, and just having a compatible personality and a compatible workplace relationship, in my opinion. Now, again, I'm not in a hiring position, is almost as important to me, I would think, as being really, really smart or really, really skilled in something. Because talking to a guy who just punches numbers all day and can't really talk to somebody, as opposed to somebody who is eloquent and can carry conversation and is decent at their job, I don't know. I'd probably prefer that person, unless they're like getting me fucking in trouble with the IRS and putting me under. But you know what I mean. I think just having a personality and being able to show that through any means necessary is something that I'd probably value if I was in a guy like Mike's position.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I am in my position. I tell you that all the time, and that's why we do interviews, but it's still so hard to judge. So having any type of insight, having a YouTube channel, being able to show yourself out there, I think is like truly, truly valuable. And you can't measure that by money. And again, like I don't want to make it sound like we're talking down to anyone that can't afford to do that, because obviously it's a privilege to be able to like afford to work for free. I'm just saying to those that can afford to work for free, bet on yourself. Just bet on yourself instead of betting on one of these large corporations, because to you, I promise you, they're most of the time you're just another number, man. And they can pay you more. They absolutely can pay you more. It's not like if they give you a little bit like 10% more, the company fucking folds. It is a conscious choice for them to capitalize on their brand and just basically draw someone in that is willing to take it, right? And So just don't fall for that trap. Honestly, just bet on yourself like Noah did. Look what Noah's done. I mean, literally both of us were just random dudes, like out in the ether, just in the world doing our thing. And now we have the pleasure and the privilege of talking to you guys on a weekly basis, on a bi-weekly basis or multiple days a week. And it's truly a rewarding experience, and we love it. That's why we do it. Like we don't, this is not like, we're not like getting rich off this or anything. We're not making we're not making much money here, but we are on here every week because we love to do it. Noah's created the new channel because he loves to do it. And it's cool, man. It's cool. It's really cool community, and it's a really cool thing to do. I highly recommend to all those out there that can afford to do it to bet on themselves and just make that bet and build your own brand, because I think it will absolutely pay off down the line in spades.
Yeah, and if tears are rolling down your face right now, wipe them away and hit the thumbs up button if you enjoyed. If you didn't enjoy, hit the thumbs down button. Jane Slater, I know you're watching, baby. Put that thumbs down. We'll talk about it in the comments. Subscribe if you're new. Check out other content we got coming up. I'm thinking we have a Top Shot tomorrow because this is Thursday, and we probably have one Friday.
Yep.
And we just have a bunch of content on the channel throughout the week. Market Watch Mondays, Bunkbed breakdowns. You know the deal. We're coming out with content a lot of days a week. I'm not going to tell you how many because I don't want to commit to anything. But that's all we got for you guys today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. We'll see you guys.
I wrote doobies by the dozen. I got smoke all in my lungs. Talking shit, but you got